Welcome to DG IELTS. Pronunciation in IELTS is not about accent, it's about clarity, rhythm, and confidence. Clear speech makes your ideas easier to understand, even when the topic itself is complex. In this video, you'll listen to a full interview and focus on how pacing, stress, and natural rhythm support communication. Like the other videos in this DG IELTS series, this lesson highlights one key area of performance while keeping the overall exam context realistic. Pay attention to how the delivery feels steady and controlled from start to finish. Let's start off by asking, do you like traveling?
Yes, I really do. Traveling gives me a chance to step away from my routine and experience something different. Even short trips can feel surprisingly refreshing because they shift your perspective. I usually come back feeling more energized and mentally clearer.
What kind of places do you prefer?
I generally prefer cities with cultural depth and strong sense of history. I enjoy walking around different neighborhoods and observing daily life as it unfolds. It feels more immersive than simply relaxing somewhere without exploring. I like trips where I can both observe and learn.
Do you prefer traveling alone or with others?
I'd say I prefer traveling with one or two close friends. Sharing the experience makes it more enjoyable, especially when discovering new places together. At the same time, I wouldn't want a large group of people. That would limit flexibility. Smaller groups strike a good balance.
How often do you travel?
Not very frequently, unfortunately. Probably once or twice a year, depending on my schedule. Work commitments sometimes makes it difficult to plan longer trips. When I do travel, though, I try to plan carefully so I can make the most of my experience. I'd definitely like to travel more often if possible.
Has travel become more popular recently?
Yes, I'd say it has. Affordable flights and social media exposure has made travel more accessible and appealing. People are constantly seeing new destinations online, which increases curiosity. It feels more normal to travel internationally than it did in the past.
Do you think traveling changes people?
Yes, in many cases it does. Exposure to different cultures can naturally broaden perspectives and challenge assumptions. Even small cultural differences can make you reflect on your own habits. Over time, that can make people more adaptable and open minded.
Would you like to travel more in the future?
Yes, definitely. There are still many places that I haven't visited, and I'm very curious to explore them. I think travel offers both enjoyment and learning, which makes it really valuable. If time and circumstances allow me, I'd really like to travel more regularly.
Is travel more about relaxation or learning?
I think it depends on the purpose of the trip. Some journeys are purely for rest and mental recovery, while others are more focused on exploration and cultural discoveries. Personally, I prefer a combination of both because that feels more fulfilling. Too much relaxation can become boring, and too much activity can become tiring. I'd like to talk about a time when I had to adapt to a significant change in my professional life, which was moving to a new country for work. When I first arrived in Dubai, everything felt unfamiliar. The working environment, the pace of life, even simple daily routines were very different from what I was used to. At the beginning, this was quite challenging because I had to adjust not only to a new job, but also to a new culture and social environment. To adapt to this change, I made a conscious effort to stay open minded. I paid very close attention to how people worked and communicated, and instead of comparing everything to what I already knew, I tried to learn from the differences. I also gave myself time rather than expecting immediate results or comfort. Over time, this approach helped me feel more confident. I became more comfortable making decisions independently, and I learned how to handle uncertainty calmly. The experience forced me to become more flexible and patient, especially in situations where things didn't go exactly as I planned. Looking back at this, change taught me that adaptation is not about changing who you are, but about adjusting how you respond to new situations. It helped me grow both professionally and personally, and it's made me more comfortable dealing with change in general.
Why is adapting to change difficult for some people?
Adapting to change is difficult because it disrupts familiarity. Many people feel secure when routines are predictable. When that stability disappears, anxiety naturally increases. In addition, change often requires learning new skills and adjusting expectations. That combination can be overwhelming for some people.
Do younger people adapt more easily to change?
Generally, yes. Younger individuals tend to have fewer fixed habits or responsibilities. They may also be more open to experimentation and new experiences. However, adaptability ultimately depends on personality rather than age alone. Some older individuals adjust very quickly as well.
What types of change have the greatest impact on society?
Technological and economic changes tend to have the largest impact. They reshape how people work, communicate, and interact. Social changes, such as shifts in values or cultural norms, can also influence behavior significantly. These changes often occur gradually but have long term consequences.
Is change usually beneficial in the long term?
In many cases, yes. While change can create short term discomfort, it often leads to growth and innovation. Societies that resist change may struggle to remain competitive. That said, not all change is automatically positive. The outcome really depends on how it's managed.
How can individuals prepare themselves for future changes?
Developing flexibility and continuous learning habits is essential. People who are willing to update their skills adapt more effectively. Maintaining realistic expectations also help reduce stress. Preparation is less about predicting the future and more about staying mentally adaptable.
What you should really notice here is how comfortable the pronunciation sounds from start to finish. There's no tension, no rushing, and no attempt to hide or exaggerate the accent. The pace is steady throughout the interview. Words are articulated clearly but naturally, which makes everything easy to understand, even during longer answers. Sentence stress is used in a relaxed way, especially when introducing new ideas or shifting between points. Pauses also play an important role. Short pauses appear between ideas, not in the middle of words or sentences. This gives the speech a natural rhythm and helps the listener process information without effort. Just as important is what is avoided. There's no overpronunciation, no self correction while speaking, and no attempt to sound native. The speaker stays focused on delivering the message clearly, and that confidence comes through. This is exactly what Band 9 pronunciation looks like: clear, calm, and supportive of communication, without drawing attention to itself. If you've been following this full Band 9 speaking series on the DG Training Lang channel, this video completes the picture. Together, these 4 videos show how high-level speaking works across all scoring criteria using normal IELTS questions and natural answers.